momentarily displayed? Or do you think
No,
you
we
know?
made a change. No censure. No lyrics today.
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Sounding good. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. One more time, harmony one. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Good morning, everybody. We are so honored that you chose to spend this morning with us at Unity in the Rockies. Thank you for being here. Let's start with our welcome. Unity in the Rockies is an inclusive community. We welcome all people, races, genders, and identities, and relational orientations. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And that's the truth. Our mission. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation, and our vision. Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, grounded in meditation, prayer, and healing, celebrating the Christ spirit within all people, and with a thriving spirit of community and oneness, shall be a leading spiritual light throughout the Pikes Peak region and the world. And you all are lit up. You light us up. I first want to recognize the beautiful bouquet of flowers here brought to us by Beth Brickle in honor of her parents today. So aren't they just absolutely beautiful? Talk about Valentine's. We have a new member orientation. These are now the announcements I'm going to go through. We have new member orientation, becoming a member of Unity in the Rockies. Our annual membership meeting is right around the corner, which is March 19th. So this is a very good time to become a member. So if you can vote, you can vote for the new board of trustees at the meeting. The new member orientation, which is an informational meeting, will take place on February 19th. And I do want to remind you that all of this is in the newsletter as well. So if you're not getting the newsletter, please let one of the ushers know and we can get you on that. There is a reading requirement, or you can attend the Unity Basics class. So what's Galantine Day? February 13th. Galantine Day is a special day dedicated to honoring friendships of all forms. Now, keeping that in mind, we just happen to have some beautifully designed and edited cookbooks that were that were presented by those of us who are in Unity. We've submitted recipes, and they are extraordinary. The book itself it could be a table book. It's so beautifully done. So we're going to encourage you to, if you have a galantine that you want to give a gift to for a special friend or whatever, we're going to be selling them out in the lobby today. And it honors the people who were always there for you, oftentimes in ways our significant other can't be. It's all about thinking about our loving friendships. So let's not forget that. Board of Trustees monthly meeting is going to be Wednesday, February 15th, 6 to 8. It will be a hybrid meeting, meaning that it's in person here, and there will be a Zoom access as well. If you are wanting to talk to somebody or talk to the board, please contact Luann Turner, who is the president, and they'll determine whether or not what you have to say will be put on the agenda, and we ask you to limit it to 5 minutes. Save the date annual business meeting. This is a big deal. We're going to be electing a new board of trustees. And the president, it's a information that tells you about how we run, what's going on, the finances, what's important, change of bylaws, all of those kinds of things. So that meeting is going to be March 19th after our regular service. Excuse me, my nose is running. One last thing, not last thing, but the Sacred Women's Circle is going to be meeting on February 18th from 3 to 4, and we're going to be having a special presentation by Forrest, who is one of our members, and she is going to be speaking about how we live with our dreams and enhance our lives. So this is also something that's starting at 3 o'clock. In the fellowship hall on the 18th. Again, all of this is in the newsletter. One last announcement. We are starting a new meditation process that begins at 9 o'clock every Sunday morning. And we have left this open for people who would like to partake and even facilitate the meditation. So if you are interested in doing that, please contact myself, Marley Milner, or River Hansen, who is the other assistant. River, could you just raise your hand so people know who you are? We'd like to put you on the program, if you will, for the meditation. And we want it to be inclusive. So I'm inviting you all to let us know if you'd like to be a part of that. Again, welcome to the Light on the Mesa.
Well, surely the presence of God is in this place, and that's the song we'll sing. I am not sure if we have lyrics for you, so there we go. Here we go. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
I'm Jean Dutton, and I will be reading. My name is Jean Dutton, and I'll be reading from the Daily Word, February 12th, today. Acts of loving compassion build my strength. Whether in my community or across the world, many people face hardships. As a member of the human family, I am inspired to undertake compassionate action and help however I can. Sometimes just a prayerful thought or simple blessing can make a powerful difference in someone's life. Other times, I may be able to take more direct action. I may listen to someone deeply as they share the concerns of their heart, or I may volunteer to drive them somewhere or complete errands for them. Regardless of the form my compassionate action takes, I am motivated to be of sacred service, to bring the love and care of God into manifest form through my decisive action. Matthew chapter 14, verse 14. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured the sick. And so it is.
This song is by Paul Brady, and I don't know how long y'all have lived in this community, but back in the 1990s, a woman named Lynn Akers, who worked at KRCC, introduced this song to me. So she was a great friend. It's called I Will Be There. When times are hard and friends are few, and you need someone to help you through, just call my name and I'll come running to your side. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid, 'cause I will be there when you are lost, lost in the night, nowhere to turn. I will be there, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. When morning comes and nothing's changed, and the world outside plays the same old game, just call on me and I will ease your lonely heart. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid, 'cause I will be there when you are lost, lost in the night, nowhere to turn. I will be there, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. And I will be there when when morning comes and times are hard and friends are few and you need someone to help you through, I will be there. Don't be afraid, I will be there. Don't be afraid, I will be there.
That is who we are, my friends. That is how we support each other. When you're in a place of celebration, we are here. When you're in a place of challenge, we are here. And thank you so much, Paul. What a joy to have you back with us once again. You are always welcome. You are a part of our family, and we are blessed by your presence. Well, good morning, my friends, and my name is Dr. David Goldberg, and it's my great joy to serve as minister of this beloved community. Oh my gosh, so much going on today, right? And before we jump into our message, as we continue with curiosity as a superpower, and today we talk about being in the flow, we have some very special guests with us this morning that I wanted to introduce to you. Please welcome Mrs. Anita Thompson and her beloved daughter, Dr. Regina Lewis. Thank you. Now, I invited Anita and Regina to be with us today because Regina and I have kind of been scheming. And I wanted to let you in on a little something that we've been thinking about and praying about and being with. And we would love your participation in. So Dr. Lewis is a recent retiree of Colorado College. And, you know, we didn't want her to get bored. So I reached out and said, hi, remember me when we did Christmas Eve several years in a row at CSLCS? And she said, yes, I remember you. Maybe not in exactly that tone. And I said, so Regina, I have this idea. So this August, we are going to recognize and honor the 60th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And I reached out to Regina and I said, what can we do? She said, I don't know, but I want to do it too. So we're going to invite whoever wants to join us in that place of remembrance, of reverence, of celebration. We have nothing else on the menu at this point, nothing else on the agenda, right? Other than Dr. Lewis's brilliant yes. So keep that in mind. Stay tuned for more announcements. Thank you both for choosing to be with us. It's a great joy. So much going on today. Sweetheart Sunday. Oh my gosh, you get to stick around for sandwiches and ice cream sundaes. Ice cream in February. It's different here. I love that. Thank you again. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Jackie. Last week's effort at a full meal was a great success. Taco Sunday without taco shells notwithstanding. Everything else was perfect and spirit is divine. So I invite you to that immediately after service. So we have Sweetheart Sunday. We have Galentine's weekend. We have Super Bowl Sunday. And I promise Regina and I were not in cahoots. I fall out in red, she falls out in green. Everything is equal, and God gets to pick a side. So speaking of picking a side, this year's Super Bowl, for those who are engaged in such things, there are a number of firsts. This is the first time in the 57 years of the Super Bowl that two quarterbacks who identify as African American are going to be starting for their respective teams. This is also the first time, in I don't know how many years, that the military has been doing flyovers of the Super Bowl. This is the first year that all of the pilots, as a part of the flyover, are female pilots. And this is also the first time in 57 years of Super Bowl history that brothers, blood brothers, are going to be playing opposite each other, right? We're talking about the Cleese brothers. Travis Cleese plays for Kansas City, and his brother Jason plays for Philadelphia. Now, tying this into a Sunday service, you go for it, David. So Mama Cleese took both of their jerseys, cut them in half along the seams, sewed them back together. She's got one son on her chest and one son on her back. Now, old thinking might be, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know who I'm going to root for. Somebody's going to lose. One of my boys is going to be disappointed. Or, I'm a winner. However this turns out, it's going to be awesome. And that's what Mama Cleese is doing. She's showing up for both of her boys, and she is in that place of great joy. So I have shared with you before that right out of high school, I had the opportunity to travel with the musical group Up With People. So for me, Super Bowl is all about the halftime experience. The commercials are interesting, the game is awesome on occasion, and it's all about halftime. So Up With People is the only group to be invited to perform at 4 Super Bowl halftimes. And I performed at the second one that Up With People did. It was Super Bowl, it was Super Bowl 14. We were in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And I was being humble, so I was standing by Exploding Palm Tree 392, and all of my friends were out doing the lead dances and singing the vocals. And my dad came out to watch us, right? My parents, I'm so blessed. My parents were so extraordinarily supportive of everything I did, whether they understood it or not. So my mom was traveling internationally, and my dad came, and I don't know if he was trying to convince me or trying to convince himself. And he said, "Pal, I'm so excited to see you. I'm so proud of you. I always knew one of my 3 boys would make it to the Super Bowl." So Dad's dream would have been Mrs. Cleese's dream, right? To have his 2 athletic sons participate. And I said, "Dad, I'm so excited, and you're here, and you're always so supportive. And P.S., I got closer than the other 2. And for those of you who are history buffs, Super Bowl 14 was the L.A. Rams and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Cheryl Ladd sang the national anthem. That was in the heyday of Charlie's Angels. And bless her sweet soul, no, she can't sing. So that's what we're talking about around curiosity, if anybody's interested, what the Super Bowl brings for us today. So I bless you in whatever you're celebrating. Valentine's, Galentine's, Sweetness Sunday, Super Bowl, and of course, Super Bowl halftimes. So yeah, this month we are celebrating the noble act that is curiosity. That is one of those God qualities that just brings me joy, because we all get to do it. We all get to be in that space of what works for us. No, we're not here to tell you what to believe. I'm certainly not here to tell you what to be curious about. And I'm inviting you into that space of being curious, right? We're all here to learn, grow, and expand. And when we're complete in that effort is when we release our biodegradable flesh suit and move on to whatever is next. So be curious, stay engaged, keep doing what you are doing. So today we're curious about, what is my reason for being? we got 15 minutes, settle in, we'll talk about the meaning of life, and we'll all be good to get on about our plans. Obviously, a much larger question, a much deeper conversation. And what we know as people on a faith path is when we're in that space of what is mine to do? What is my purpose? How can I engage? How can I be that spiritual being having a human experience? What serves me and what serves the greater good? And what we know is that's not a question for our intellect. Everybody in this space could probably figure that out in one way or another, in one form or another. And our invitation is to make that longest journey, that 18 inches from the head to the heart, and feel in what is yours to do. Drop into that space of emotion. How do you want to feel when you show up? I don't know about you. When I walk through these doors and I see our ushers, who are now here way early because somebody changed the timing, they're glowing, and I say thank you. And when I visit with Marley and River, our platform assistants, they are volunteers, my friends, and they are here for hours and hours and hours, sharing their consciousness and sharing their goodness in support of this community. They are following their passion, and it shows, right? They are lit up. That is what is theirs to do. So, in the seat of the soul, Gary Zukav writes, each soul comes to the earth with gifts. Each soul brings the particular configuration of the life force that it is to the needs of the earth school. Earth school, I love that. It does this with purpose and intention. So we're reminded that what we are seeking is seeking us. I often share that as part of the weddings that I get to celebrate with so many beloveds, and two more this week. Valentine's week is a big week for weddings. What we are seeking is seeking us. What you are seeking is seeking you. If you are in that place of calling in the perfect relationship, that being is seeking you. And the other thing that I have learned through being on the planet a certain amount of time now is that, yeah, the short answer is it is possible to have more than one soulmate. I don't think, my personal opinion is, when the divine created us, he or she or it or them didn't say, you're one of a gazillion people on the planet, good luck finding the one that's right for you, right? So for those who are in whatever phase of a relationship, yes, that is possible. And that is what I know to be true. So when we talk about being in the flow, I jumped into this a little bit when I was doing my PhD work, focusing on creativity, diversity, and social justice. The person who actually coined the term flow is a fellow by the name of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. For those that are taking notes, Csikszentmihalyi. You say it. So I figure anybody that has Zen in their name, it has to be okay. So what Professor Csikszentmihalyi wrote is that his basic premise is he thinks it's a mistake for us to seek happiness. If we're striving for happiness, he's like, oh, that feels like that's slightly off the mark. Rather, he says, let us seek those things that bring us happiness. So if you're playing chess, if you're anything like me, it would be better to win than to lose the chess game, and you enjoy the process. And if you're a dancer, you love dancing, And you also enjoy the process, right? You enjoy the steps along the way, pardon the pun, to get you there. And so it's the learning, it's the dancing, that is the main reward. He took a look at the ideas and applied them to the question of how some people become genuinely creative. And this was another thing that spoke to me. He makes a distinction between small c creative and big C creative. Bless you. Small c creative is taking a different route to Starbucks in the morning, or maybe you park in a different place at church, or, oh my gosh, maybe you're sitting in a different seat at church, right? We are a loving and a kind people, and don't sit in my seat at church. That's small c creative. Big C creative, he says, looks like the capacity to change the fundamental way we see, we understand, we appreciate, or how we do things. Whether it's by an invention of a new machine or writing a new song, it's that you have made a deeper difference. Now, one of the things that I had great joy in doing in one of my previous positions as the publisher and editor of Science and Mind magazine was to sit with these authors of the day. When they would come through, for whatever reason, we would reach out and they would grant interviews. And I had the opportunity to sit down with Deepak Chopra on 3 different occasions. And one occasion I said, Dr. Chopra, what is your process? I know some people get downloads from the divine, right? That's what you and I were talking about this morning. Some people get downloads. Some people process with pen and pad. Some people type. And I said, what does your process look like? He said, it's a little bit of everything. I'm like, okay, well, that's a really good non-answer. And I love what he wrote in the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Deepak says, everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift or special talent to give to others. And when we blend this unique talent with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and the exaltation of our own spirit. Ecstasy and exaltation. I love that. Just as an aside, you all are probably aware of the rumors that are flying around that Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey have been dating. And should they choose to get married, Oprah has said that she will change her name and become Oprah Chopra. You're welcome. So what does this look like then? As we're in this place of creativity, as we're in this place of flow, sometimes easier said than done, right? When all is well and things are percolating and all the boxes are checked, that's one thing. And when we're slightly off center, or perhaps more than slightly off center, it's more of a challenge for us. So I want you to know, I'm speaking on behalf of every person in this room, and forgive me if this is incorrect, we've all been there. We all get to have those human experiences. And as folks on a spiritual path, then, it's our opportunity to say, this isn't where I want to be. What can I do to get back to where I need to be? Is it meditation? Is it prayer? Is it reaching out to a chaplain? Is it speaking to my minister? Is it speaking to a colleague? What does it look like for me to be in the space of center? I love a children's church that I'm familiar with. They, and many probably do, they use a theme of frogs. And what they're teaching the giant souls with short legs is when you have those challenging moments, go to prayer. Go into prayer. Your interpretation of the divine, again, whatever that looks like and feels like to you. And the FROG acronym is first rely on God. And jump back to center. And they're telling them that it's that easy. Well, it is that easy. And it's not always that simple. So what does that look like then? So part of that for us, as we all know, is the inward journey of discovery. Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't know about you, but I've occasionally had a thought of, I'm moving too slow. I need to be doing something, on and on and on. Well, it is these thoughts of why am I here, what am I doing, that propel us to take a deeper look at who we are. That's why many of us are here today. We're all curious about this journey we call life, and sometimes we seek answers outside of ourselves. And that's where the frog concept comes in. When I'm seeking from something else or somebody else, or if I have to take another class or read another book or go to another seminar, well, that's all awesome, and that feeds your soul. And let's take a lesson from the frog. First, rely on God. Take it into prayer, see what speaks to your soul, and see what kind of download you get from that. The second, and I also wanted to share with you, in the book Freedom from Stress, it says, and this was written some time ago, so forgive the gender languaging. It seems that man exists for the purpose of self-expression. There appears to be no other reason or excuse for his being. The infinite has already implanted within man an instinctive intuition, which is the spiritual knowledge of good. And his whole growth results from an inner awakening. So that's the work that we're engaged in. And then that question is sometimes followed by, do we all have a unique purpose? Do I have a unique purpose? The short answer is yes. The short answer is absolutely. So my first class in ministerial school was with a fellow by the name of Barry Herman. And Barry has done a lot of work around the inward journey, the noble purpose, if you will. And he literally wrote a book on noble purpose. And it was a wonderful and an intimidating and a challenging class as I started my path in ministerial school. So what Barry wrote, and what I also know to be true, is we are all unique expressions of the divine, here to share our individual gifts and passions. No other human being can ever ignite life the way you can. Only you can do that. Recognize the importance of your life, because if you do not share your gifts, they will never be shared in your unique and individual way. Only you have your gifts, nobody else. To put it in the words of another great teacher, prize what makes you different, because if it goes, you'll be a real snooze. Thank you, Bette Midler. The third thing we talk about, and what I would invite you to consider, is don't let fear get in your way. So two of my favorite acronyms for fear, the first one is forget everything and run. I'm done here, we'll go do something else. The other option is false evidence appearing real. So isn't that what happens when we worry? Well, what if this team loses the Super Bowl? Well, what if they get sick? Well, what if they don't come out of the hospital? Well, what if I lose? Well, we can what if ourselves until the end of time. And worry, my friends, is praying for what we don't want. So that is when we get to change that thinking, like Mrs. Cleese, instead of saying, one of my boys is going to be a big loser today, she gets to say, whatever happens, I win. We get to have that perspective. We get to say what that looks like. All too often, our fears and hidden beliefs will hijack our attempts to discover our glow, that which makes us come alive. We become disillusioned, and the feeling of being stuck can dim our light of curiosity. I believe I've shared this before, but it helps me underscore the point. Thank you for your patience. Rick and I were in our spiritual community, just attending service, and in a place of meditation and listening and soaking in all that was being offered to us. And at the end of the service, this beautiful being came up and tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, "David Goldberg?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sorry, would you help me with your name?" And she said, "Oh, we haven't met, you don't know me." I said, "Okay, well, it's nice to meet you this morning." She said, "I just wanted you to know that your aura was so bright during the service, I almost had to come up and ask you to turn down your light." I've never been accused of being the brightest bulb in the room. And I wasn't sure how to respond to this. Thank you. So, I kind of did something awkward, and we went off and had a cup of ice water. And as I thought about that, I thought, what would be my truth, what would be kind, and what would be helpful? And what I came to was, thank you, beloved, for recognizing my light. I recognize your light as well. And might I suggest that rather than my turning my light down, that you raise your light up, right? So, translated, my new t-shirt is, I'm not dimming my light for anybody. I love you, and let's do this together, right? We're all in this together, and let's continue to raise each other up. So what I invite you into then, my friends, is be courageous. I love the Jana Stanfield song, "What Would I Do Today If I Were Brave?" We've talked about that before. I love that. Be courageous. Don't just dip your toe in the river and get caught in the resistance the rocky bank brings. Dive in all the way into the center of the stream. Allow yourself to be carried in the current, discovering yourself along the way. This is how we find our purpose and when we find our glow. We are in the flow. So talk about diving into the deep end. Once again, for those of you who have opened your hearts and your energy and welcomed Rick and me so brilliantly into this community, Rick is a master of diving into the deep end. So just this past week, he connected with a massive antique store in Lakewood, and he's got his own booth now. He has his own mini antique shop. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know we have antiques." He said, "Well, we don't, but I'll have something antique-y, and it's gonna be magic, and it's gonna be mystical, and it's gonna be spiritual." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever I can do to support you." So we're moving tables, and he and some other friends were setting things up, and we're out to dinner, and he gets a text, and he's like, "I just sold 2 things from my store." Then he gets another text, "I just sold 3 things from my store." And you see, he never would have known that if he would have waited to have a conversation with me, and perhaps we would have done a little more analysis. He knew, he trusted his intuition, he knew what brought him joy, and he jumped into that. So what are you pausing on where you don't need to pause? What do you get to step into with all of your being, with all of your heart, with all of your glory, knowing that it makes you shine? And I'm not even going to invite you into the worst that can happen. Who cares? That's not going to be your experience. So, what are you choosing to step into with curiosity? What are you allowing yourself to be in the flow of life? Last week I talked about going rafting and getting the lesson of when you fall out of the raft, don't go head first and use your head as a battering ram to find all of the rocks in the river. It's counterintuitive. Lie back and let the river carry you in the flow. That's what we're talking about today. So, do be courageous. Don't let your unique spark not find its life. Don't die with your song still in you. Know that there is no one else who can do what you can do. I love one of my dear friends and mentors, Dr. Roger Teal, who's now the Minister Emeritus from Mile High Church in Lakewood. and he and his wife Erica are dear friends of ours. This is from Roger's book, This Life is Joy. There is a greater mind within each which may be called upon. There is nothing too small or too great for this mind. Listen, be receptive, believe absolutely, be convinced. The one with a great purpose in life is always consciously and unconsciously holding this purpose up to the universal influx, thus causing an outpouring of divine wisdom through his or her own individual mind. The whole book is that inspiring. Roger Teal, This Life is Joy. One of my favorite musicians, Karen Drucker, has a beautiful song that puts it more succinctly. And I also share this as part of my wedding ceremony with the folks that I have the great joy to marry. Karen's song says, "Let your big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine." Yeah? Let your big, bright, brilliant beam of radiant light shine. And I promised I wouldn't sing. So in closing, I just wanted to share with you, recognizing that we honor all faith traditions and all people and all paths to the divine. This is a story from the Hindu tradition. There was once a long time ago when all human beings were gods, but they so abused their divinity that Brahma, the chief god, decided to take it away from them and hide it where no one could find it. Where to hide their divinity was the question. So Brahma called a council of the gods to help him decide. The first idea was, let's bury it deep inside the earth. And he's like, well, no, somebody will just keep digging and eventually they'll find it. Then they said, the Brahma council said, let's sink it in the deepest ocean. But Brahma said, not there. They'll learn to dive in the ocean and they'll find it. Then the gods said, let's take it to the top of the highest mountain and hide it there. But once again, Brahma replied, no, that won't do it either, because eventually they'll hike the mountain like those people at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, and they'll find it. Then the gods gave up. We do not know where to hide it, because it seems that there is no place on earth or in the sea that human beings will not eventually reach. And Brahma thought, and Brahma prayed, and Brahma meditated. And then he said, this is what we will do. We will hide their divinity deep in the center of their own being. For humans will never think to look for it there. All the gods agreed that this was the perfect hiding place, and the deed was done. And since that time, humans have been going up and down the earth. We've been digging, we've been diving, we've been climbing, we've been exploring, searching for something that has forever been within. When we find our glow, we are in the flow. Please join me in prayer. How good it is to be in the flow of life, to know that the one power, the one presence flows through me and everyone within the sound of my voice. I know that at the core of my being. I bless this energy. I bless this ubiquitous presence that is in, around, and through it all. And as we go forth this day then, I know that we simply allow ourselves to be in that place of grace, to be in that place of ease, to be in that place of deep connection and deep knowing. I call it good. I call it very good. I call it blessed. I know that the time is divinely appointed, that the hour is divinely inspired. And as we go forth then in this week, I just bless us each and every one. God expressing as you, God expressing as me, is perfect in its perfection and its imperfection. I release, I let go, I allow it to be. We anchor this together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. God is good all the time. And now, my friends, it's our time to step into that place of giving where we are spiritually fed. Ushers, if you would come forward, please. So thank you, however you choose to give, either here in the sanctuary, online, through any of our electronic means, by mail, however it works for you. Our board, all of our volunteers take our fiduciary responsibility seriously, and we are most grateful for the sharing of your gifts and your offerings. If you would, please join me in the blessing of our abundance. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
This is a song by Mary Chapin Carpenter. What I'm looking for after all this time that keeps me moving forward, trying to find it. Since I learned to walk, all I've done is run. Ready on my mark, doesn't everyone need a place in the world? It could be right before your very eyes, or just beyond a door that's open wide. It could be far away or in your own backyard. There are those who say you can't look too hard for your place in the world. It takes some of us a little longer. A few false starts gonna make you stronger. And when I'm sure I finally found it, gonna wrap these arms all around it. It could be one more mile or just one step back in a lover's smile or down a darkened path. Friends will take our side, enemies will curse us. But to be alive is to know your purpose, your place in the world, your place in the world.
Dr. David, your microphone is off.
David, could you unmute?
Trained here eventually, Mark. Thank you. A couple more announcements as we move toward the end of our service. First, we did want to recognize and acknowledge Abraham Lincoln on this, the anniversary of his birth. Thank you, Mr. President. And I also wanted to share with you that we have some of our newest newlyweds in the house. If you would join me in giving a rousing Unity in the Rockies welcome and welcome back to Mr. and Mrs. Jose and Kayla Santa Cruz in the booth. So along with all the new names, now Kayla Yamamoto is Kayla Santa Cruz. And we bless you both in that experience. Thank you for being here and allowing us to share in your love and to share in your joy. And speaking of love and speaking of joy, one of the new elements of our service is a blessing for the children. We honor the little ones who are with us today, and we honor those who will be finding their way here in the future. And join us as we bless all the children on the planet as we rub our hands together to get the energy flowing for them. And join me as we say, you are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine beings that you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then our prayer for protection as we go forth into this day, into this week, and beyond. I see you, I love you, I know who you are. Thank you for the joy of sharing this journey with you. Join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in power. Go in peace. Would you step out with this?
So would everyone like to stand and, as you're comfortable, maybe hold hands? And if we get some lyrics, we'll sing Let There Be Peace. Well, here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Have a good week.